We are live. We have a big show for you tonight. We have officially shifted into a different UFC timeline where we have Hood, Dustin Poirier, and we have sober Conor McGregor. How did we get here? What caused the timeline shift? We're going to get weird tonight, guys. People have theories as to what is causing us to experience this new timeline. In fact, they say it comes down to one fight and one fight only. I don't know if I believe that, but here we are, guys. So let me check the chat real quick. Let me make sure this shit's working. All right, now we're fucking live. My name is King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I go live every freaking day, guys. So make sure you have notifications on. Set to all notifications or else you won't know when I go live, because this is actually the 5th time I've gone live today. I'm learning how to work a computer and a live stream, so it's a learning process. But here we are. We got Arpon the Dawn in the chat. Let's go. We're live. Real ones, holla in the chat. Real ones, let's freaking go. Everybody's probably being redirected to the other live that I just shut down because the computer monitor wasn't working, but now here we are. Here we are, guys. Make sure you send your coach to studiomillions.com. Studio Millions will pack their gym full of students who stay, pay, and refer. I'm going to drop that in the chat right now. That's honestly that's the most important thing, right? The most important thing is that you and I are here together, guys. And then the second most important thing is studiomillions.com. All right, guys. Studio Millions will get your coach their whole gym right, and they will thank you for it. Also, make sure you follow Fight Circus at Fight Circus. And if you are a real one, let me know in the chat. I respond to every comment. So if you're watching this after the live is done, you can drop a comment and I will respond to it while I'm still able to. And then in the future, I will not be able to, so it'll only be super chats and super likes. But anyways, guys, let's get started. Dustin Poirier has gone full Hood Dustin. And Conor McGregor is now known as sober Conor McGregor. We are in a bizarre timeline, and people are saying that this timeline switch happened. The timeline switch happened when Sean Strickland won the belt, but I disagree. So there's if you go on X, people are making edits that are saying when Strickland beat Hamzat, that opened a different timeline. We switched to that timeline. That's how Justin Gaethje beat Ilia Topuria, because we've switched timelines now. On that new timeline, Dustin Poirier is now Hood Dustin, and Conor McGregor is sober Conor. Now, as happy as I am to see sober Conor, it saddens me to see Hood Dustin. And while the memes are great and they're quite entertaining, I hope he gets help. But with that being said, let's have some fun with it. All right, so did we in fact switch timelines? Is timeline switching possible? What is reality? And are we even here? So you guys know they're disclosing all these UFOs, right? They're disclosing all these UAPs. The government is saying the aliens are real, conveniently. And at the same time, magically, Steven Spielberg, he drops a movie called Disclosure Day. It's just a coincidence, guys. And in his Disclosure Day movie, essentially, I haven't watched it yet, but everybody's saying that aliens are what created everything, and God as we know it isn't quote unquote real. He's also going into the fact that the alien spaceships are kind of like there's a lot of mental things going on where like one's mind is what creates one's consciousness or awareness is what creates the spaceship to move, right? And that goes in alignment with what caused us to switch timelines in the UFC. So while I do believe we are on a very interesting timeline, speaking of crazy timelines, my boy Jesse on Fire is interviewing Palm Beach Pete. That's coming up this week. Jesse's going to interview him. When Jesse thinks his real name's not Pete. He thinks he's somebody else. I'll let you guys put the pieces together on it. And Jesse's going to interview him as to what he thinks the guy with the other name did and what's actually going on with the government and the people who aren't 18 and the politicians and the scientists and all of that. So he's kind of going to go talk to Pete as to Pete's theories on like, hey man, I know you're Pete, but let's say you had a theory on how that dude Jeff got out of jail. Like, how would you think that he did that? Hey, that dude had control of like these politicians because he did all this bad stuff. Like, can you give us details on what you think happened as definitely not him, but as a dude named Pete? So Justin's gonna have a very, very, very bizarre interview with that guy. And I've met that guy, okay? And it was very spooky. And I believe he's Pete. Just for the and this isn't me trolling, this isn't me because I'm being recorded. I'm not super conspiratorial in those situations. I believe in what's called Occam's razor, which is the most simplest explanation is probably the most simple explanation is probably the most accurate or the most likely. So when they say that they're going to disclose UFOs suddenly, and then a movie comes out called Disclosure Day, and then they say it's all a coincidence, that's something where I would say, oh, the most simple answer is probably this is all a a unified front, a unified effort, right? Because that's more simple than these things are just happenstance, where the stuff that's being disclosed happens to be in the stuff that's in the movie, but when the stuff was getting disclosed, it wasn't disclosed yet. So this guy just speculated all this stuff in the movie. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. So, anyways, here we are. Whatever energy was put out into the universe got us on a timeline where Strickland won the belt and then gets arrested at the UFC White House. The most American fighter we got at the time, the only male American champion, got himself arrested at the UFC White House Freedom 250 card. And then, because we're on this timeline, Justin Gaethje did the impossible and he won the UFC world title, the American underdog. And now Dustin Poirier pops off at the airport, calls people an M-word, and says they can fight. And now we are re-engaged in the meme sphere with the greatest memes and the greatest edits we've seen in a long time of Dustin Poirier. And honestly, man, as fucking crazy it is that we got here and the way that we got here, I hope Dustin's going to get it all together and figure it out. But this could be a really good thing because now Dustin's getting like a second wind and a second like layer of love. So even though it was a bad situation, it's got like this silver lining where Dustin's getting like all these fucking hype edits and these remixes, and everybody's got shirts. Strickland wore a shirt, said it's gonna be bad, my ninja. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's like a resurgence of Dustin. So go buy Dustin Poirier's hot sauce. I've bought it before. It was good. And here's the thing, man. Was it $12 good? Well, yeah, I want to support the guy. You know, so I dropped it. But like if it wasn't Dustin's, I probably wouldn't pay $12 for it again. But here's the thing. It is Dustin's. And Dustin's going through it right now. So we can support him by buying his hot sauce. So go buy Dustin's hot sauce, guys. Let me take a drink of this caffeinated beverage. Last night's live popped off about Nina drama, the social contract, the perspective of men in America and in the Western world versus the perspective of women. Why Nina's crashing out on our own fans. And I'm hoping that we're on the best timeline possible. That's what I'm hoping. You know, like let's hope it all works out because it seems like there's a lot of shit that's cooked right now. And the for me on this timeline that we're on, my biggest hope is that the key to Conor McGregor beating Max Holloway is we have sober Conor McGregor now. You know what I mean? He's got a sweater tied around his neck. He's got a white picket fence. He's sober. He's grateful. He's doing gratitude work, you know. And He's found God. So I believe that's the mix Connor needed. And I believe that Dustin Poirier probably will come back and fight again, which will be cool. But at the same time, I hope in that time he also works out his issues because we might be leading up, and this is real because Dustin said he's having a problem being retired. And I get it. Not fighting is, if you fought, then you understand like fighting is epic. He said if he came back, he'd come back at 170. Connor's going to beat Max, guys. Sober Connor will beat Max. Now, are we going to actually get Hood Dustin versus Sober Connor? That's the $1 trillion question right now. I hope we get it. I believe it's possible. And when I say I hope we get it, I mean more like if that's what's best for both of them, if that's what keeps them sober, if that's what keeps them from falling off the deep end, if that's what stops them both from getting arrested, maybe in some twisted, bizarre, universal twist of fate, those two kind of need each other. In like a fucking borderline animated fucking anime series where like this one and this one and they're shifting between good and bad, and as they're shifting and the yin and the yang and they're fucking changing positions on the timeline, the good versus evil battle, and then one can reflect at like, hey, the same stuff I was critical about this dude for, I can like see in myself, and the same stuff that I see in myself, I can see in this guy. And in a lot of ways, they're actually the same. Like Joker needs Batman and Batman needs Joker. And now we've got Dustin versus Connor. But previously, Dustin was the good charitable guy, which I believe he still is. But now he's got the hood side to him. And Connor was the drunk, street fighting bad dude, and now he's sober. So now they've switched all around. And so I think that makes an interesting plot arc, if you will. Also, I think Connor's going to absolutely spark Max. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to do a breakdown probably later this week or next week before the time they fight at some point. And then what else is coming up, man? I think Hokit is in the running for a UFC world title in his next fight because I believe that Tom and Eddie Hearn are trying to negotiate. They are saying they are ready to fight Cyril Gane. I don't believe they're quite as ready as they say they are, and I think the UFC is going to call their bluff by making a fight between Josh Hokit and Cyril Gane on paper that they're going to present in front of Tom Aspinall and say, "Hey, Tom, if you don't fight right now, we're going to run it up with these two." I think they're going to put the pressure on Tom. I think Josh Hokit's ready to step in. Josh Hokit agreed to this fight that he just did while he was in an ambulance from his other fight. So he's about that smoke. And he said he's made a couple $1 million already this year in his rookie season in the UFC. Why? Because he got some attention. So anyways, I think we're on a crazy ass timeline. In a lot of ways, I don't know. I'm positive about the future, man, but there's like a lot of fucking crazy shit going on, man. There's a lot of crazy shit going on. And honestly, like some of this shit is kind of I'm torn on because almost anything you say turns into like a political narrative, and the political narrative gets dark really quickly, right? So let's say we start talking about Strickland. Okay, well, he got arrested at the White House. Well, why did he get arrested at the White House? Oh, because he said some shit. Well, who do you like? And boom, now you're down a rabbit hole, right? And then it's like, oh, cool, man. Well, Justin Gaethje beat Ilia Topuria. Well, Justin Gaethje is on the side. Oh, rabbit hole, right? And then even right now, Strickland and Manel Copper beefing, right? I train at Extreme Couture where they both train. So these are two teammates in a sense, although they're at the same gym. We have different practices. So the practice that Manel and I would go to is for 155 pounds and under, and the practice that Sean goes to is for 170 and up. So Sean practices at 10 a.m. and then we practice at 11. Sean oftentimes stays and coaches us, which is really dope. But Now they're beefing over Ali Abdelaziz, and I'm hearing backstage at the Manel fight, Ali Abdelaziz swung on somebody, right? So I don't even know if that's public information that I'm allowed to talk about who he allegedly swung on, but apparently Manel's manager swung on somebody who I'm close with, Strickland's close with, everybody at the gym knows, and it's like, man, bro, what is going on out here? Ali Abdelaziz wants to smoke now, and I don't even know if that's true. So maybe you guys have more information on that than me. Like I said, I went live 4 times earlier today. They all had disappeared into the atmosphere somewhere because I was using the software, and I don't know where the software puts them because I had logged into this account through the software, and it's supposed to drop the live on here, which was a different subject. I was talking about DC versus Hokit because now DC's teammates are saying the DC might street fight Josh Hokit. Like it's on site. Like DC's gonna press him. And if Hokit says anything other than like I'm sorry or chills out or like squashes the beef, that DC might fucking pop off on him. Then this was his teammate Josh Thompson, and Josh Thompson has knocked out Nate Diaz. He was on a podcast with John Morgan, and John Morgan is the reporter who always asks questions first at the UFC press conferences, who Kobe Covington would always tell to do push-ups. Anyway, so these two are talking, and Josh Thompson tells the story about DC pushing a child over, like the whole shit got weird, right? And I don't even want to get into that subject, but the point of what I'm saying is that Josh Thompson, who knows DC well, says DC will press Hokit when he sees him, and it's on site. So we might get a street fight out of this whole thing, guys. We might get some kind of fucking scuffle. And they were also talking about potentially DC versus Hokit in RAF. I'm pretty sure DC doesn't want to compete anymore, but you might be able to get him to put a fucking singlet on and go out there and try and stuff Josh Hokit's head up his ass. So hopefully we get something out of it other than just a bunch of shit talk and nothing happening, because I like the shit talk, but I like when motherfuckers back it up too. So hopefully these two scrap, or, and I know I'm not supposed to say that. I hope they work it out, which is different, right? When I say that about Dustin, I'm talking about like Dustin has an actual situation going on in his personal life, and I hope he finds peace and joy in his life. When I'm talking about these two are just arguing with each other, just beefing. So it's like, hey, let's squash, let's run it, guys. I would absolutely, I know I'm not perfect. I'd love to see them street fight each other. I'm not supposed to say that. I would like to see it, guys. Okay. DC says he likes when the situations get messy. So do I. So I would like to see. I mean, I don't want them to either like injure each other or stomp each other's heads out while they're unconscious, but it'd be dope to see them scuffle, see the two tangle, get get DC's adrenaline back up. You know what I mean? Make him feel young again, like the fucking 2 division champion he is. Get Hokit in there, the young blood, the new age, the new era. See where Hokit's at with it. Can DC get him with the head outside, fucking high crotch, single leg to the sky? Who knows? No telling what might happen. And hot take, if DC were to wrestle him right now, I'm not even, hey man, Hokit's impressive. Hokit might be DC at RAF. I know DC says he could pin John, or he could tech fall John Jones 10-0. I don't think he's going to do that either, honestly. I think John Jones beats DC at RAF. And I'm a big fan of DC's career and his YouTube channel and all that. But I think John Jones is something else. And I think Hokit might be the best athlete we've seen since John Jones. Hot take. Hot take, guys. So anyway, I like to see that beef escalate a little bit. And if they squash it, that's cool too. That's like a wholesome, like, oh, right? But like, maybe there's like an open hand slap or a shove, or like somebody tackles somebody and it gets broken up before we get to that point, some kind of fucking drama. And then what else we got going on? We got MVP, the Netflix card. There's so much subtle disses and sneak diss and all, like they're all beefing with UFC over the numbers. for the Netflix uh, biggest fight in MMA history versus the White House card. So all these numbers are crazy. We got 100 billion views if you count 1 second views on social media. It's like, what does that mean? We got 1 minute views. We got 17 million of them. Like, so all the numbers are cooked. Everybody's using these numbers to manipulate. So what I would like to see is the UFC White House card. Forget about Netflix for 2 seconds. The UFC White House card's reported numbers versus the UFC's next Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway fight, those reported numbers. I believe Conor McGregor can beat the UFC White House numbers. I know it's crazy. I know. I'm a crazy guy. I know. But I think Conor could do it. If anybody could do it, Conor could do it. And then if Conor can do it, it shows Conor is the number one draw and he's bigger than the sport. If Conor cannot do it, then it's going to say, hey, man, the UFC is bigger than you. Celebrity is a bigger draw than MMA. And so the fact that they had the celebrity of the White House, the fame of the White House, and the celebrity of Trump being there and all the media and all the drama, that's a bigger show. Conor, we love you, guy, but, you know, you're still an MMA fighter. And MMA is not quite as popular as people think. So we're going to see. We're going to see. And to me, more than just the fight, more than just Conor versus Max, can Conor do the unthinkable, which is come back from that injury? All that, right? There's all this shit that's on the line. Even more interesting. Not like in addition to that being interesting, this is also an additional interesting thing. Is can Conor outdraw Trump in the White House? That's the big question. Anyways, guys, this is my 5th fucking live for today, so I'm gonna hop off. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody who watches this in the future. Drop a comment. I respond to all comments. Make sure you subscribe and have notifications on if you want to be a subscriber and want to get notified. And if you do, I appreciate you for it. And if you don't, there's no way for me to appreciate you. You know what I mean? The only way is if, you tap that like, it changes colors, it feels good inside. And then I say, hey, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for having notifications on. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And, hopefully some crazy news pops up and then we can get fucking wild in the chat. Let's go. All right.